Your mind is a room, a sacred space where you live every moment of your life. But what happens when that room becomes filled with dust? Not physical dust, but the dust of anxiety. The dust of, what if? What if I fail? What if they judge me? What if I'm not good enough? Each anxious thought is a single mote of dust. Alone, it is insignificant. But together, they accumulate. They form a thick gray layer over everything, choking the light, blurring your focus, making it hard to breathe. You try to clean it up. You try to argue with your anxiety, to fight it, to force it out. But this is like trying to fight dust with a sword. You only stir it up, making the air thicker, the chaos worse. You believe you're the dust. You identify with the anxiety. You think the storm of thoughts is you. But what if you're not the dust? What if you were the room itself? And what if you held a tool, an ancient and profoundly simple tool, designed not to fight the dust, but to gently sweep it away, restoring your inner room to its natural state of bright, clean stillness? There is such a tool, an ancient Japanese mental technique known as chiri harai, the dust sweep. It is a method for cleansing the mind that is so simple, yet so powerful, it can feel like magic. When you learn to use it, you will stop being a victim of your anxiety. You will become the calm, quiet keeper of your own mind. Before we learn to sweep, I invite you to subscribe and join our community of inner architects. In the comments, I want you to name one piece of mental dust that clouds your mind most often. Acknowledging it is the first step. Now, let us pick up the broom. In a quiet corner of Kyoto, there lived a young painter named Akemi. She was a prodigy. Her work with ink on silk was so delicate, so full of life, it was said she did not paint birds, but rather, she allowed their souls to land on the page. She was chosen to present a single masterpiece at the prestigious Imperial Arts Exhibition. It was the honor of a lifetime, and it was destroying her. The pressure mounted, and with it, the dust of anxiety began to gather in the room of her mind. What if my work isn't good enough? What if the masters see me as a fraud? What if I fail? These thoughts were relentless. They coated her once peaceful mind until she could no longer see the beauty of her own art. The anxiety manifested in her body. Her hand, once as steady as a surgeon's, began to tremble. A single, trembling brush stroke could ruin a week's work. The ink would bleed. The perfect line would become a jagged scar. The more she tried to control the tremor, the worse it became. Her studio, once a place of creation, became a chamber of fear. She tried everything. She reasoned with her anxiety. She told herself she was talented. She fought the thoughts, pushing them down, only for them to return with greater force. The more she stirred the dust, the thicker the air became, until one day she sat before a blank piece of silk, her hand trembling so violently she could not even lift the brush. Her mind was not a sacred space, it was a prison. In despair, she sought out the one person she thought might understand. An old legendary painter named Master Kenshin, who had long ago renounced fame and now lived as the simple keeper of a small mountain temple. She found Master Kenshin not in a studio, but in the temple's main hall. He was not painting, he was sweeping. With slow, deliberate, mindful strokes, he swept the vast wooden floor. The room was empty, save for the sunlight pouring through the paper screens. It was immaculate. Akemi, in a torrent of words, explained her plight. She spoke of the exhibition, the pressure, the dust in her mind, and the tremor in her hand. When she finished, Kenshin did not speak of art. He did not speak of technique. He finished his sweeping, leaned the broom against the wall, and gestured for her to sit in the center of the empty, sunlit room. "You believe your problem is your hand," he said, his voice calm and clear. "Your hand is only a messenger. It is telling you that the room of your mind is in chaos. You cannot paint a still bird with a stormy mind." He continued, "You are trying to fight the dust. You are trying to grab it, to argue with it, to destroy it. But you cannot fight a shadow. You must simply turn on the light. You will not learn a new way to paint. You will learn an old way to clean. You will learn the chiri harai, the mind sweep." The mind sweep has 3 parts, Kenshin explained. The first is ninshiki, the recognition. You must see the dust for what it is. He instructed Akemi to close her eyes and wait for an anxious thought to appear. The thought, "I am going to fail," soon arose. "Do not push it away," he said softly. "Do not believe it. Do not analyze it. Simply acknowledge it, see it, and in your mind, give it a name. Not a name of judgment, like my horrible fear, but a simple, neutral label. Label it. A thought." Akemi focused. The thought screamed, "I am going to fail." Instead of fighting, she mentally whispered, "This is a thought." "Now," Kenshin continued, "visualize this thought not as a truth, not as a command, but as a single mote of dust floating in the sunbeam of your awareness. It is there. It is real. But it is not the room. It is just a tiny speck passing through. Do this with every anxious thought that arises." This is the foundation of a modern therapeutic technique called cognitive diffusion. A leading psychologist from Harvard University explains, "Anxiety gets its power by fusing with our sense of self. We don't say, 'I'm having the thought that I am a failure.' We say, 'I am a failure.'" The mind sweep technique creates a critical space between the observer and the thought, allowing us to see that a thought is just a transient mental event, not an absolute reality. For an hour, Akemi sat, labeling each wave of anxiety. A thought. A feeling of fear. She was not fighting. She was simply observing, acknowledging the dust without stirring it. "The second part," said Kenshin, "is jumbi, the preparation. Once you have acknowledged the dust, you must gently prepare to act." "You do not rush to sweep," he said. "That is a form of panic. Instead, you create a moment of deliberate intention. In your mind, you will now visualize a simple, beautiful, wooden broom. This is your tool of clarity. Feel its weight in your hands. This act of visualization is critical. It shifts you from a passive victim of your thoughts to an active keeper of your mind. You're no longer just seeing the dust, you're preparing to address it." Akemi visualized the broom. It felt calm. It felt powerful. The thought, "I am going to fail," was still there, floating. But now, she was holding the broom. The power dynamic had shifted. She was no longer helpless. Let's be brutally honest. A part of you doesn't want to let go of your anxiety. It feels productive, doesn't it? To worry. You tell yourself that if you worry about a problem enough, you're somehow controlling it. You're preparing for the worst. This is a lie. You're not preparing. You're suffering twice. Your anxiety has become a part of your identity. You are an anxious person. It gives you a story to tell. It gives you a reason for why you haven't done the things you want to do. It is a comfortable, familiar prison. The mind sweep is simple, but it is not easy. It is not easy because it asks you to do the one thing your anxious mind refuses to do: to let go of control. To gently sweep the thought away without analyzing it, without wrestling with it, without engaging with its dramatic story. It asks you to trust that you are safe without the constant buzzing alarm of anxiety. And that can be the most terrifying step of all. The final part, Kenshin said, his voice now a quiet guide, is Soji, the gentle sweep. This is the release. With the broom of your intention in hand, you will now gently, without force, without anger, sweep the mote of dust. You will visualize it being swept across the clean wooden floor of your mind and out through an open paper screen door, where it dissolves into the vast, empty sky. It is not a violent act. It is a release. You are not banishing the thought. You are simply letting it continue on its journey, out of your room. Akemi focused on the thought dust. I am going to fail. She took her imaginary broom, and with a slow, deliberate mental motion, she swept it. She didn't push it. She didn't hate it. She just swept. And she watched as it floated out of the open door of her mind and disappeared. Another thought arose. My hand will tremble. She acknowledged it. Ninshiki. She picked up her broom. Jumbi. She gently swept it out. Soji. Over and over, she performed the sweep. The storm of thoughts did not stop immediately. But now, she was no longer drowning in it. She was the calm keeper of the room, patiently, gently, sweeping the dust. You hold the broom. You can begin sweeping today. Here is your ritual. First, name your dust. Identify the 1 or 2 anxious thoughts that visit you most often. Write them down. I'm not prepared enough. They won't like me. Seeing them on paper is the first step of acknowledging them. Second, schedule your sweep. For the next 7 days, schedule 2 5-minute mind sweep sessions. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. This is non-negotiable. During this time, you will sit quietly and practice the 3 principles. Third, practice the 3 principles. Acknowledge, Ninshiki. When the anxious thought arises, label it neutrally. A thought. See it as a mote of dust. Prepare, Jumbi. Visualize your broom. Feel its calm weight in your hands. Shift from victim to keeper. Sweep, Soji. Gently, mindfully, sweep the thought dust out of the open door of your mind and let it dissolve. Repeat as needed. This is not a one-time cure. It is a practice. You are not trying to get to a place where dust never enters the room again. You are simply becoming a masterful, patient, and peaceful sweeper. Akemi returned to her studio. The anxious thoughts still came, but now she knew what to do. The thought would arise. Your hand will tremble. She would acknowledge it, pick up her mental broom, and gently sweep it away. Then she would pick up her real brush. She completed her masterpiece, a single crane taking flight from a still pond. Her lines were perfect. Her hand was steady. But the true masterpiece was not on the silk. It was the quiet, clean, sunlit room of her own mind. You have the power to clean your inner room. You have the power to choose not to live in the clutter and chaos of your own anxiety. The thoughts will come, like dust on the wind. But you are not the dust. You are the room, and you are the keeper. All you have to do is pick up the broom and begin the gentle sweep. If this path to clarity calls to you, subscribe to the TGR Flurby. It's time to let the light in. Thank you for watching.